สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you how to make homemade chicken stock and then we made chicken noodle soup with it. Today, I'm going to share with you a recipe that you can also use that chicken stock for, just to show you how versatile that stock is. We are making duck noodle soup or บะหมี่เป็ดตุ๋น Now, บะหมี่ is egg noodles, which is what we're going to use. Pet is duck and tun means to braise. So it's a very popular street food in Thailand. The duck is braised in lots of spices. So good and really easy to do. Let's get started. So I've got a pot of chicken stock here, unsalted, that I made. And if you want to see the video, I'll put the link to the video right up here of how to make your own chicken stock. Now I'm going to add some spices to it. Okay, so I've got here some cinnamon sticks, some star anise, some coriander seeds, and also some Sichuan peppercorns. If you don't have the Sichuan peppercorns, you can leave it out. Now, I toasted these in a saute pan just for a few minutes to activate all those aromas. I toasted all of them in one pan, but if you're feeling hardcore, you can do them separately if you want. I'm just drop these into the soup pot here. Woo! And I'm also going to add some goji berries. So goji berries are dried Chinese berry that's a classic ingredient in stews and soups, and it's believed to be really good for you. It's high antioxidants. In terms of flavor, it doesn't add a whole lot. It does have a mild sweetness. So if you don't have it, don't worry about it. But if you're gonna get it, look for this at a Chinese grocery store. Don't go to Whole Foods or you pay like 5 times as much for the same thing, okay? I'm just gonna drop these in. And now I'm going to add my seasoning. I've got here some soy sauce, some oyster sauce, very nice. And also for some color and some rich molasses flavor, some black soy sauce. If you can't find black soy sauce, you can also use dark soy sauce, Chinese dark soy sauce, but you will need to reduce the amount of regular soy sauce a little bit because it is saltier. And you can add more or less of the black soy sauce just depending on what the color looks like. And then some sweetness. I'm gonna add some palm sugar. This soup is sort of like a sweet and salty combination, but you don't want it overly sweet. When it comes to noodle soup, you can always adjust at the end. There are 2 ingredients here that I would recommend you add if you have it, but I don't happen to have it today. And one is galangal. I forgot to bring it, but if you have it, throw it in. And also pandan leaf, just a little bit, but it adds a nice floral aroma to the soup, okay? And now the duck. I've got here some duck legs, and for this, I prefer duck legs, but if you have duck breast, you can use that. But the duck legs also have bones, and it'll help flavor the stock even more. So this is just drumsticks and thighs connected together. I'm just gonna add them right now. Now, if you're wondering, well, if you're making duck noodle soup, why don't you use duck stock? And you absolutely can. But duck bones is very hard to find. Like chicken bones, I think, is widely available. And a good thing about chicken stock is that it's got a neutral enough of a flavor that it can accommodate other meats. Like people use chicken stock as a base for fish soup even. So now my duck isn't completely covered. We gotta fix that by adding some water. If you've got more stock, you can add more stock, but I don't. So I'm just gonna add a little more water to make sure it's covered. So I'm gonna bring this to a gentle simmer and then let it simmer for 1.5 to 2 hours until the duck is fork tender. But I am going to keep it covered just so that I don't lose any volume and then halfway through the duck is all exposed. And I also feel like if I close it, all the aroma and everything stays in the pot rather than filling the whole room with it. Oh, and if you have a slow cooker, yes, you can absolutely throw this in a slow cooker. All right, so see you in a little bit. Ooh, check this out. It smells so good in here, all those spices. Now, this being duck is naturally going to have a lot more fat than chicken. So as you can see, it's a lot of fat. Now, if you're making this the day before, let it cool, put it in the fridge, and you can just lift or scrape all that fat off really easily. But I need to eat this right now, so I'm just going to skim off that fat. Look at that. Look at all that duck fat. And of course, you can save this for other cooking if you want. All right, that's nice and clean. Also, at this point, if you're able to scoop off some of the spices, go for it. Now I'm going to give it a taste. Oh, that's good. But it does need a little kick of seasoning. So I'm going to actually add salt because I'm happy with the level of soy sauce and oyster sauce. So a little salt. Remember, this is going over a noodle soup, so the noodles are going to bring its own sort of liquid and things like that. But if you're eating it like a soup or a stew, which you could, people do, this will probably be perfect. Here are my noodle assembly, not complicated and not much different from my other noodle soups. I'm using thin egg noodles for this, which tends to be the most popular kind to go with duck noodle soup. Of course, you can use any kind of noodles that you want. In terms of condiment, I've got, of course, chili vinegar, and I actually highly recommend it because the noodle is quite rich, salty, sweet, so the acidity is really gonna help. I've got some garlic oil, which is what I use to fry these fried garlic. And in terms of vegetables for this, a little different. So I'm using green leaf lettuce, believe it or not. And if you're thinking lettuce in soup, yes. And if you haven't tried it, you should. I find the crunch and the flavor goes really well. It's really refreshing. So now I've got some boiling water going here. And I'm gonna first cook my noodles. Let that chill out there for a minute or two. And then you'll often see in Thailand, people will take chopsticks and sort of stir it. And that sort of helps it cook more evenly. And also these noodles are often coated in flour. So by doing this, you're sort of shaking out the flour in the middle, washing it out into the water so you don't get flour bits in the middle. That's coming up. Shake out as much water as you can. And then bloop, right there. Woo! Now, a quick blanch with the bean sprouts. And the bean sprouts just take 15 seconds or, just heat it up a little bit. Still want it nice and crunchy. All right, let's bring on the duck. Yeah, one whole hindquarter duck, which, by the way, is probably bigger than anything you'll get in Thailand. Soup on there. Very nice. A little garlic oil. Seriously, just make the garlic oil ones, keep it in your fridge, and you will be so glad you did because now it's so easy to just add strong garlic flavor to absolutely anything. Some chopped cilantro for freshness. Some people do celery leaves as well, so Chinese celery, but you can just do the inner leaves of celery. It goes really well with duck. And a little chili vinegar. Ooh. And just look at this, how tender this duck is. Look at that. Just falling apart. That's perfect. See, I know eating noodle soup, a lot of people like to do chopsticks, but the reason why I like fork and spoon is I get to compose a perfect bite every time. I want this bite to have a little bit of everything in it. Oh, that's good. Oh, that flavor, this flavor of all the spices. The duck is super tender. It's rich and comforting, but really well balanced with a little bit of vinegar. You know what I forgot? Is white pepper. I don't like to make this super spicy, but I do like a little bit of heat, and white pepper just gives that nice warm, oh, love that smell. So good. So good. So I hope you give this a try. As you can see, once you've got the stock made, everything is so easy. And this is such a crowd pleaser. I can guarantee you no one is not going to like this dish. So the recipe, as always, will be on hotthaikitchen.com. When you make it, send me a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And we now have our Patreon page, so if you enjoy the show and you want to support us, definitely check that out. And I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal. Because I'm anal that way. Right? Because if you do chopstick, then you just get the noodles.
Yeah,
and then you have to follow it up with the other stuff.
Well, you have to just hold stuff in your mouth until you're done and not chew.